Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the InformTheVoteNJ Radio Hour here on Cruiser 92.1 FM, WVLT here in Vineland, New Jersey. The basic premise behind this project has always been pretty simple. My goal is to help reduce the friction between receiving a sample ballot in the mail and confidently casting a reasonably informed vote at the ballot box. At its core, voting is an act of informed consent. Whether we're electing a mayor, a county commissioner, a governor, or voting on a ballot referendum, we're essentially saying, yes, I understand what I'm being asked to decide, I have a reasonable understanding of the people or issues involved, and I agree in good faith to accept the outcome of that decision as part of our democratic process. If that understanding is missing, then it's worth asking what informed voting really means. That idea has been reinforced for me several times over the past few weeks. Last year, I spent a considerable amount of time researching Cumberland Regional High School's bond referendum. One thing that became clear during that process is that while there are different legal requirements surrounding ballot questions in different contexts, there is also a broader expectation that voters should receive a balanced understanding of what they're being asked to approve. If someone is voting on borrowing millions of dollars for a school project, they ought to have a fair understanding of both the potential benefits and the potential drawbacks before making that decision. Then about a week or so ago, I attended Bridgeton City Council meeting where Council introduced the first reading of a ballot question regarding the possible closure of the Bridgeton Public Library. The language on the agenda described the city's current financial struggles and that the Cumberland County Library was only just over a mile away. In other words, possible potential benefits of keeping the library open. In other words, possible reasoning for closing the library. But during public comment, I made it a point to ask what the potential benefits of keeping the library open might be. The council has yet to express potential benefits, but social media has certainly been doing its best to express support for the library. Regardless of where someone stands on that issue, if we're asking the public to make an informed decision, then they deserve to hear the strongest arguments from multiple perspectives before casting their vote. Then, just this past weekend, I attended my first paid coverage assignment at Bellevue Winery regarding ranked choice voting, hosted by the Democrat Committee. To be clear, the committee did not pay me. Rather, I was hired independently to cover the event. The presentation itself was put on by an advocacy organization discussing a proposal that could eventually appear before voters through ballot referendums. So to be clear, the presentation was overwhelmingly in favor of ranked choice voting. There is absolutely nothing inappropriate about advocacy groups making the case for policies they support. That's an important part of our democratic process. But again, it reminded me that there is often a tremendous amount of information behind what appears to be a simple question on the ballot. During the presentation, one attendee asked what the strongest argument against ranked choice voting might be. The answer was brief, despite the fact that there are a substantial amount of counter-arguments that deserve thoughtful consideration. Likewise, the presentation focused primarily on single-seat elections, while the mechanics for elections involving multiple seats are considerably more complex. The presenter acknowledged there is an entirely separate presentation devoted to explaining those procedures. Furthermore, if we accept the premise that we should have preferences expressed more thoroughly than our traditional plurality voting system, then perhaps a more comprehensive method of doing that, such as board account positional voting, might be better. And that is just some of the information which would be useful to voters who would be asked to vote on ranked choice voting through ballot referendums related to State Senate Bill S1643. My post about that event, with a fair amount of that additional information, will be available shortly after I finish it up. Again, the point isn't whether someone should support or oppose ranked choice voting. The point is that informed consent requires understanding what we're actually being asked to decide. And that leads us to tonight. Recently, I realized there was another type of election that I've frankly never closely inspected. Every 4 years, registered Republicans vote for Republican county committee members. Registered Democrats do the same on different years for their own party. And I had to ask myself a very simple question. What exactly are voters consenting to? What does a county committee member actually do? What are their responsibilities? How often do they meet? How is the local party organized? What authority do they actually have? To answer these questions, I did something I probably should have done several years ago. I sat down and read the bylaws of the Cumberland County Regular Republican Organization, and I'll admit, I learned a lot. I discovered that the organization has a board of directors, municipal committees, officers, annual conventions, endorsement procedures, fundraising, responsibilities, governance meetings, and even the authority to adopt its own county platform if it chooses to do so. In other words, there is a lot more organizational structure than most voters, including myself until this week, probably realize. So tonight's program is intentionally a little different. We're not here primarily to debate Republican policy positions or list the pros and cons of candidates who have already been elected. We're here to better understand Republican organization. Joining me tonight are Danielle Carroll and Arvene Kilby of the Cumberland County Regular Republican Organization. Together, we're going to explore questions like, what exactly is the Cumberland County Republican Organization? How does it relate to the national and state Republican parties? What do county committee members actually do throughout the year? How is the organization governed? How does the endorsement process work? What different types of meetings are held and how often do they occur? And perhaps most importantly, how can the average voter better understand what they're actually voting for when county committee races appear on their ballot? Whether you're a Republican, Democrat, Independent, or simply someone trying to make better sense of local politics, I hope tonight's conversation helps pull back the curtain on perhaps a less understood part of our election system. Because regardless of our political beliefs, our democratically elected republic works best when voters understand not only the candidates on the ballot, but also the institutions behind them. Danielle, Arvene, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Glad to be here tonight, Steve.
Great. So why don't we just start with basic introductions for people who don't already know you guys?
Sure.
Why don't you go first, Danielle?
So, I am a recently retired high school English teacher from Millville. It's been 1 year, loving my retired life, and I think it's appropriate that you picked me since this is an educational talk here.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Just saying that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the Board of Trustees for RCSJ, Cumberland, and Gloucester. Well, Cumberland side, but we mix with Gloucester. I love to volunteer. Before COVID, in the 20-teens, I was involved with the Cuddle program at the hospital, where you rock sick babies in the neonatal unit. So I was involved with that. Been a Girl Scout. I'm a lifelong Girl Scout. Had my own Girl Scout troop. Was a Girl Scout. I'm in the Republican Women's Cumberland County group now, and I enjoy painting, crocheting, gardening. I have 3 new grandchildren. Well, not one's older, but 2 new babies. So I'm busy that way. So that's me. I'm married. Been married 38 years.
I think you might have forgotten the most important part.
Oh, I'm a county committee person.
There you go. And that's very recent from this year's primary.
Yes,
okay.
it is.
Congratulations.
Well,
even though I
thank
think you ran uncontested, right?
I did.
But yeah, it's great to have you here because, like you said, you're coming from an educational perspective. So maybe you can, every time that, how do you convey this pedagogically moment happens, maybe you can explain it a little bit better.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Perhaps.
But then also you're a new member, so
Yes.
part of this will be a learning experience for both of us.
Definitely.
Which then brings us to Arvene.
The expert.
Well, I don't know about expert, but I'm actually a transplant from the state of Kansas.
Okay.
And I've been here since 1993.
Okay.
So I've actually resided in Cumberland County for over 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
I got involved with the original Greenwich Tea Party many years ago and was quite active there, and a board member as well as the chairman of the communications committee, and we were quite active as we had. And then when that party, I will call it, dissolved with the things that were going on, that was when the IRS was trying to disband tea parties, and we're really coming after them with a vengeance. It went to Faith and Freedom, and that group actually is still out there, but I'm not involved with them. But I started working with the Cumberland County Regular Republican Organization in 2016, 15 and 16, got familiar, started coming, and became very active in that. And I have been reelected as the vice chairman for the county, and I'm also the Cumberland County State Committee woman, so that I represent Cumberland County at the state level.
Gotcha.
For the state party. So I'm pretty active there. And then my daytime job, I am the chief of staff for Senator Michael Testa at Legislative District 1 office in Vineland. And then also obviously working with our assemblyman and constituent services.
Great. So you two are perfect for tonight's episode. And Arvene came in, she signed on to do this last minute, and I really appreciate that because it's really going to help with the overall understanding of trying to figure this all out, because it's, at least from my perspective, it's a lot of information.
Well, I'm very happy to be here because the whole effort is always under education. Education and being informed. And the more people understand the process of the county organizations, why they're there, how they were formed, the things that we will get into during this hour, and how it relates back to the state as well. So I know that those are questions coming down the pike, but right now I think you probably want to hear more about the county committee person that we have here.
We can do that. Another thing, just to set a little bit of context, when I was reading through the bylaws, it's set up in a really good way where it starts like, well, what is the name of Cumberland County Republican Organization? And just so, as we're talking, people who are not as familiar, that's sometimes referred to as the CCRRO.
Correct.
The acronym Cumberland County Regular Republican Organization. And then sometimes on Facebook, you'll see it referred to as the Cumberland GOP. Right. So if you're hearing any three of those terms, we're basically
talking exactly. It's the same thing, and GOP still goes back to the traditional grand old party that was put forth on the Republican Party many decades ago.
Right. Cool. So then the next thing that kind of comes up in my mind, maybe you can answer this, or maybe it goes to you. How exactly does the Cumberland County Regular Republican Organization relate to the national party, then the state party, and then as a county entity?
It actually goes in a reverse.
Yes, it starts ground
so
up.
It starts at the local level, at the county level. The county level, and actually that goes down to each of the municipalities. There's 14 municipalities within our county. From that, then we have elected a man and a woman, and that is through the laws and statutes that are out there that have to do with being a representative of that county at the state level. The state party, which is called NJGOP, they are represented then with two people, a man and a woman, who are the national committee people from the state of New Jersey for the Republican Party.
That's
so
interesting.
They have the, I would say, constant contact at the national level. So that they are very involved, and that is Janice Fields and Bill Patitucci. So when they are constantly going back and forth from New Jersey to DC for a variety of committees. They're on committees at that level. They're dealing with the RNC, which is the Republican National Committee. So they are then bringing back information. They are also advocating for money for the state when it comes to elections, and particularly election years where there is a highly contested one. Let's say for the president, it could have been the gubernatorial race. Many of the county elections where they know that there is a highly contested race going on, and they want to be able to influence some of the funding to come to New Jersey and then can go down to those various counties.
Sure.
But what they're also doing is bringing back messaging from DC that then is dispersed to the 42, because we've got 21 counties times 2.
Yeah, right.
So to the 42 people who then will take it back and disperse it to the county level. And at the county level, then we can then disperse that information as needed to the municipalities.
Got it.
So it really kind of starts at the local level.
Yeah.
And then goes up.
I was just
but
gonna-
it's like a double highway. It goes back and forth.
Sure. I was just gonna comment how interesting that is, because when I've been paying attention more and more closely over the past 10, 15 years, and I always assumed it was more of a national first thing, and then, but because the news and all that, they always
Yes.
talk about the national stuff.
Exactly. And they don't necessarily talk about the state level.
Mm-hmm.
So unless the state level, and of course this year the state GOP elected new chairman and officers in January.
Okay.
Jack Citarelli and the team that were in place last year ended at the end of December.
Okay.
So we had to go up there, and the committee people, the 42 committee people, were the ones who cast their vote on who would be the next chairman.
Got it.
So relate that now back down to the county.
Mm.
And I'm going to kind of, not to go too fast, but when we are talking about candidates then at the county level, whether it is for the county and or for the municipalities, which we also include, then the county people, county committee people are the ones who cast their vote on who is going to receive the endorsement of the Republican Party for Cumberland County, and then they can use what's called the slogan, which really is our name.
Right.
CCRRO
Yep.
name. So they use that, and that can go with their name onto the ballot.
Mm-hmm.
So that whole process is pretty much the same as it comes down. So the committee people, the county committee people, carry a very important role.
Yeah.
I mean, not only I always say the primary goal is to get other Republicans out to vote.
Yes.
That is
Sure.
the primary goal.
I've heard that multiple times.
Absolutely. But they are also the people who will vote for the candidates that are to carry our name or to be endorsed by our party, and we will work with them throughout that campaign season.
Mm-hmm.
They also are the people who will vote on bylaws, any changes.
They will. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
I was going to ask about
So they are the people who are doing it. Now, you mentioned bylaws earlier that you had been reviewing. I want to clarify for the listeners
that. Yeah.
that you were looking at the bylaws that are on the county-wide Cumberland votes,
Yeah.
and they are there. But they are the previous set of bylaws. The reason I can say that is that just this past Saturday, the 27th of June, we had our quadrennial, which means it
Okay.
happens every 4 years.
Yes.
The Cumberland County is set up to have their reorganization meeting the year following the gubernatorial election.
Gotcha.
So this was the year that we had to have that. But before we went into that reorganization meeting, we had a set of revised bylaws
Got it.
that were approved by vote of the county committee people. We included as one of the revisions of that bylaws were that we wanted to add the municipal chairs. The municipal chairs who preside over each of the county committee groups for each of the municipals,
Yeah.
we wanted them to be able to vote as well.
Oh, they weren't.
So they weren't in the
okay.
past. Also, the other hug was the state committee people. We were not in there to
Yes.
vote for the
Interesting.
reorganization. So we made sure that that was included.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm going to give back to last year. The next thing that happened that changed everything for state committee people, we had to also do what the county committee people did this year. We had to get signatures for a petition. We had to turn that petition in to be on the ballot. Those elections are only done at the primary.
Yes.
Right.
When the primary results come in, that part of that election is done. It doesn't go any further.
Yeah.
Correct.
But last year, due to legislation that was presented by Democrats that said state committee people no longer would be voted on by the public and be on the ballot, that they would only be elected by their county committee people.
Okay.
Now, that really upset the cart.
Okay.
That really upset the cart for a lot of reasons, and I will give you my humble opinion that apparently somebody really got mad because a state committee person probably found out way too much that they wanted to know and probably opened their big yacky mouth.
Sure.
I'm going to guess at that. I could be totally wrong. But when legislation comes in like that, that's very severe
Right.
to change an election process that had been in place for a number of decades. And I don't know when it started. I couldn't give you that. I even tried to look that up, and I never could find the starting date. That changed the whole thing. So state committee people are now only elected, but for a 4-year term,
Yeah.
just like the county committee people are elected to a 4-year term.
Sure.
They will not be on the ballot again until 2030.
Okay.
So, with that being said, the state committee people then, I worked with the bylaws and our other officers, our chairman and our solicitor, and when we had our convention in March, the 1st of March, then we introduced an amendment to our bylaws that had that provision changed so that we were now, according to law, that the state committee people were going to be elected by the committee people. So we did it, the bylaw change, before the convention started, so that it was all done at once. And that the only thing is we were lucky that the announcement and the passage of that bill was done before the March convention.
Yeah.
So anyway, it got done. So we included those things in this most recent bylaw change. Then we also just unified some of the language, and then we eliminated some of the requirements, the articles that were in there that didn't make sense.
Okay.
Because we weren't really doing it, and we had found a better streamline of how we work with all the municipalities and how we want to operate. That's the purpose of bylaws.
Right.
Bylaws are like a charter. They are the foundation of how you operate.
Right. How you're supposed to behave day by day and which
Correct.
rules get implemented
Correct.
and why.
How you elect a leadership, how you
It's like a
go about-
corporation.
It is. How you conduct business.
Yes.
And that's pretty much what it
Right.
is about.
Yeah. So then, before we get specifically into the committee discussion, I wanted to clarify one more thing. I saw in the bylaws that you guys can create your own platform if you decide to. Is that still in the bylaws?
It is, but no, we really looked at that. The platform itself, that originally went back to the state level.
Okay.
The state level was determining a platform that was based on the national platform.
That's what I was wondering, but I was like,
And-
I would assume you would go by national, but
You do, but here's the thing. Historically, when the RNC has been building their platform, and it's based on the presidential years of election, so 16, 20, 24, when those platforms were created, they were pages and pages. Why does a platform message need to be more than just some bullet points?
you're saying like high level agenda, move in
High-level
this,
agenda,
move in
and-
this direction.
And it was almost like directing yourself legislatively as to which direction you were going to take it. What we have been finding is that as that still has to be dealt with at the national level, the state is marrying with the counties so that we keep those messagings and we really look at what our county needs to know. Because what our county needs is not necessarily what Union County or Essex
That's
needs.
exactly what I was.
So we tailor it so that it really makes more sense to what we need down here in
So
Cumberland County.
is there a CCRRO platform specific?
We are developing it right now.
Oh, okay, great.
But I can say no, but I can also say yes.
Right. It's in
We
process.
really are looking at two major issues: affordability, safety.
Yeah.
And we're keeping it pretty much that. So if I had said we were having a platform, that pretty much is our platform that we've been focusing on.
Mm-hmm. Great. Cool. Sorry. So then let's switch over to the committee stuff. So I guess the most broad question could be, what are the specific duties of a committee person?
Okay, so specific duties. So for us, it starts at the ground level. We are elected in by the people in our ward and district. And once we're there, we go to the meetings. That we have 6 meetings out of the year or more. And primarily we are there to get out the vote for our candidates in our municipality, in the county, wherever we are needed. And that is pretty much a lot of walking, a lot of knocking, shaking hands, smiling, going with the candidates, doing fundraisers, things that support what the candidates' needs are.
Mm-hmm.
So we are that smiling person at the door on Saturday morning. Hi, you have 5 minutes?
Right.
And sometimes they say yes, and sometimes they say no. And then sometimes you're like, do I really want to go up to that house?
It sounds like me 10 years ago trying to try my luck at the bars.
Do you go in or not, right?
Let me think.
So, I mean, do you craft like a sales pitch type thing? Something that you try to go in to
Usually-
win people over with?
For me,
Yeah.
if we're one-on-one, I usually stick out my hand. It's always a good way to introduce yourself. Hi, I'm Danielle Carroll. I'm your committee person. I'm sure you're wondering what that means. Kind of tell them, oh, okay. And so we talk a little, and then I'm like, we have somebody who's running for congressperson, right?
Yeah.
And Murphy. So we would say Justin Murphy is running against Cory Booker, and highlight Justin's ideas of what he wants and bring that to the voter to see if they even know what's going on.
Sure.
Because
like a test the waters
yeah.
kind of thing.
And then just say, we're pulling for that person, or, at, say, the county level, a county commissioner, we are out here with Sandy Taylor, who is running for county commissioner now. She's the deputy director.
She is the director.
Or she is the director, I'm sorry, Art Marchand's deputy.
Yeah.
It was the double D thing. So, and we're usually with her, and she will explain what she has in mind
Yeah.
for her ideas for the county to people. Sometimes we get people like Michael Testa comes with us as well. Sometimes he's Chairman Testa, sometimes he's Senator
Right.
Testa. It depends on which he's wearing that day.
Sure.
So he'll come with us. Arvene comes with us. We can get people from the neighborhood to come with us. It's a fun thing to do. It's a lot of work, but it is fun. Sometimes it gets confusing. Sometimes you're just dropping off literature because nobody's there, or they're scared to open the door. Who's this person?
Sure.
And pretty much that's what we do. With the fundraising, any type of fundraising we do, it goes right to the candidates for their running, for their purposes, to get signs, whatever they might need, time on the radio, time on the TV.
So the basic premise is, or the basic role, primary role, is getting out the vote, getting the message out to people who live in your district.
Exactly.
To raise awareness, convey the basic platform and hopefully, if they generally agree, remind them to actually go to the polls,
yes.
fill out the mail-in ballot, and,
I would
and get it done.
I would say we're not just limited to our district. If another district needs additional help,
Sure.
we're there to help.
But I guess it would be like your primary focus would be
our district.
and then you get called in for extra help.
Yeah.
kind of
So
thing.
like years ago, and I'm talking like 30 years ago when you were just a tot.
When I was 13.
The county people would sometimes have like a pizza party
Oh yeah.
in a month to bring everybody together,
Sure.
and or have another type of function. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but I just remember pizza parties.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for me, I've kind of been involved in both sides. I come from four fathers,
Okay.
and my third father was Frank Beazle. He was head of the Democratic Committee
Okay.
years ago. We're talking 40 years ago. In the law firm with Mike Testa, Big Mike, not Little Mike, because he was just a kid then. And Big Mike was very involved with the Republican Party, and so our firm was very involved with the vote, and we all worked very well together. And when my father passed away, my mother married another man, and he was a Republican, and so Michael, I've known Michael since he was very young. His mother and my mother were best friends, and when he said he was running for senator, I'm like, I'm right there with you.
Mm-hmm.
I babysat you. I've been around you forever.
Right.
So I changed my party to be with the person I care about.
Right. Yeah,
So-
makes total sense.
And now he's gifted me with having the opportunity to be a county committee person. Part of being a county committee person, you have to be appointed by your chairman
Okay.
to be on the ballot. So
Okay.
you're interested, you talk with your chairman and he says, yes, you can be on the ballot.
That kind of makes me wonder about an interesting aspect that relates to what you just said and just this primary election dynamic or operational mechanics. Is there any sort of like fair discussion to be had about how involved the state is in administering primary elections, and then also how involved the general public should have access to that? When I've heard political organizations are private entities, and then you're saying you have to get appointed by the chairperson in the first place.
It's like vetting.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's,
Vetting. Yeah.
I should have used that
But
word.
it's almost like this dynamic where it's like, especially when you're talking about the party voting for itself at the end of the day, how much choice would it be when you're basically being appointed to a leadership position? So isn't the vote sort of ceremonial at that point, or
Which vote?
like for me, right?
the primary standpoint?
Like I'm not
The primary
heavily,
election?
yeah, the primary election. It's like I'm not heavily involved in the Republican Party right now.
It's
Should I be voting for county committee?
but at the same time, you're still meeting the Title 19 requirements,
Yeah,
right?
that's what I meant. Like
Yeah,
the
so-
overlap between state.
But to go
and-
back to what you were saying earlier, the state has nothing to really say. State GOP has nothing to say at the county level,
No.
right? Not at
I
all.
meant more like
But
the state of
the-
New Jersey.
And it all falls under the Secretary of State.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where the election process is, and Title 19 is under the Secretary of State.
Mm-hmm.
So meeting that requirement is one thing, but we also, it's like any of the candidates, and we'll kind of get into that part if it's all right with you. The convention.
Yeah.
People want to know, what is the convention that we're having?
Sure.
The convention, there's a process there. People who are interested in being a candidate, and we'll use the county commissioner position first.
Okay.
Somebody like yourself, if you were interested in running and becoming a county commissioner, then you would put in a letter of intent. That letter of intent must be received by a certain date, and then you are vetted. We vet everybody because, first of all, you want to make sure that someone is also really a Republican,
Yes.
Yeah.
number one,
Registered.
but also is what kind of involvement have you had already? How much knowledge do you have? What is your involvement? What are your pieces of expertise or skills that you want to bring to the county commissioner level?
I'm wondering, if you don't mind, if this is too pressing, let me know.
Okay.
What does that vetting process look like? Because I think I've heard you guys say like the 80-20 rule a bunch of times, like when I was going to the breakfast. What measuring tactic do you go by to make sure, like, okay, this person actually ideologically aligns with us?
Unfortunately, I have to share that this has become the norm in many cases. Number one step, you check social media and what kind of post is that person putting out.
Sure.
That tells you about everything you need to know of their character.
Yes.
And what would come back to attack them should they run.
It's part of the reason why I don't want to run.
But again, even though we can laugh about that, I mean, everybody
But
has
it's
the
true.
skeletons.
You are
Everybody has
absolutely
that.
correct.
But social media has become an open Bible. It's an open public record. So you have to do that. So that's one of the things that we have to do is look and see what kind of social media presence that person has. But then also in talking with other people that they have worked with or have
Like a
been around
reference
with, a reference check, and again, you're doing as much background check as possible on just a level of personable side. I'm not talking about going to and paying a creditor to do a background check.
Right.
What we're talking about is we're trying to do it on a person-to-person, one-on-one type
Right.
level.
Yeah.
From that point, then, when you have the letters of intent from people, and this year, of course, is for 3 seats. The other 2 years are 2 seats apiece. If we have more than 2 candidates to fill 2 seats that are open, then it becomes a very nice, competitive, contested position, and that's when everybody gets to talk about themselves. So there is that process as is outlined in the bylaws, is that you have an opportunity to talk about yourself, but you also have the opportunity to talk with the committee people and other people and try to sell yourself, basically, that I'm a better candidate. The convention itself is held just like any other voting process. The candidates are each allowed to get up and speak, and then we do an actual paper ballot, secret paper ballot. We go into a closed room. All of the candidates are welcome to come in and watch as we tally those votes. So it's a very open process.
Sure.
It has never changed. It's not going to change because we want to make sure everybody has that opportunity. But we're also making sure as people come in, they are a committee person. Now, during the convention, that is the only time that elected officials, Republican elected officials, can be a part of the vote.
Okay.
All right, so we do include them as a part of the voting body
Sure.
to determine who or which candidates are going to receive the most votes, so it's a democratic process, and who will then be endorsed to use the name of the party.
Okay. Yeah. And that's very important because then the committee gets behind them.
Correct. And as Danielle was just saying, in going to door and all, they hopefully they are also helping and having a candidate with them. But that's not always the case because our county is so darn large.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
150,000 people. over
Exactly.
that much,
And when you're
square
talking
mileage.
about Vineland, which has the largest geographic
Yeah.
size in the entire state,
Mm-hmm.
they don't
My
always.
district is
But
quite
you
large.
have
Yeah.
the materials, and that's where some of the fundraising goes to, is the materials, which are not cheap, obviously. But they can bring that, they can give that to the homeowner, the voter, and we can say, hey, here it is. But it's also encouraging them, if they are not registered to vote, would you, and we can give them that deadline as well, because there's a deadline for people to register to vote
Yeah.
for both the primary and the general election in November. So I also wanted to make sure the listeners know that. There's 2 different deadlines.
Right. Gotcha. So then maybe we can get a little bit more in depth into the committee meetings. You said they happen 6 times a year?
Yes.
They do happen 6 times a year. Each of the municipalities can decide when they meet. A lot of them will meet on a monthly basis, but they will go in there and they were determining what they're doing to participate in the ground game.
I mean, it's just an organizational.
It's just an organizational effort, and really, it's getting everybody together to say, okay, here's where we're going to help. We may have.
Do you
given
have
to
an
them-
app, or do we have lists of
Right.
people that we need
Who's
to
going to
hit?
organize the fundraiser?
Exactly, and which neighborhoods are we going to hit this week and the next week and the following and so forth. It's kind of making sure everybody has the same
game plan.
instructions and a game plan.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're not doubling up on something that we don't need to double up on.
Correct. We want to make sure the duplicity is out of the picture.
Yeah.
Right, sure.
Yeah.
Because why be redundant? You're wasting resources and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
It's hard enough to get
But
people to volunteer in the
let me
first
tell you
place.
this, Steve. You can get out there, and we've done this in the past. You can get out there and do door to door and be done before the election period and go back and do it again. Again, trying to keep
Yes.
people engaged.
Yep.
Keeping, and that, I love that word engaged, because what we're trying to do is engage. The committee people, and Danielle was talking about the older days, they were called block leaders.
Yes.
Yeah.
Block
I've heard
leaders.
of that.
And they were the ones who were rounding up the neighborhood, and they were having a pizza party,
Yep.
or they were having a coffee klatch, which we still adore,
Yes.
where you have someone have donuts and coffee at their house. We bring the candidates in, and the people there, you don't want to bring everybody in, and I say this, and I don't want to make anybody mad, but you don't want to bring in the people who already know who the candidates are.
Right.
You want to bring in people from your district who don't know who they are.
Right.
Yes.
Inform them, again, getting
Right.
back to the word inform,
Right.
so that you can engage them and ask for their vote. Again, big ask that a lot of people forget. I've talked with you, Steve. I've shown you what my platform is. I've told you what my message is. This is what I believe I can bring to the county level. Will you vote for me? Don't
Direct ask.
forget to ask the direct question.
Yes.
You gotta ask the girl if she's actually gonna go on the date, right?
That's right. That's right. Don't assume that she is going to.
Right. Or
Yeah,
And
we
if
know
that
what that
person
word-
isn't with you, you will say, who would you like to vote for? You know, here's the name. So they get engaged with the name, your word.
Name
Most-
recognition, I'm sorry to
Go
interrupt.
ahead.
Name recognition is the key to most people getting elected.
Yeah, I would imagine so, based off of what I've noticed over the past 3 years.
Yes. And that, the more you get the names out, the more they won't look foreign when you get to the polls.
Right.
And you may be going, oh my, who am I going to vote for? No, I know who I'm going to vote for. It's going to be Steve Solof, it's going to be Danielle Carroll, and you go right on down the line.
That reminds me of when I was interviewing people about the county line design debacle, controversy, whatever you want to call it. And
All of the above.
yeah, and the argument was, the parties have control over the best positions on the ballot, and the other people are in ballot Siberia, blah, blah, blah. And my counter argument was, I don't think I was tricked into voting for Donald Trump because his name was in the top spot. I know who he is. I'm not voting for, Carolyn Rush because she just happens to be in the right spot. Now, unfortunately, I think because of the amount of information out there, sometimes that might be true.
Oh, I'm not going to
Oh, yeah.
argue that at all, because
Yeah.
it could be true. But again, let's clarify a couple of things between the two elections.
Yeah.
Primary is now by position only. It's not by party.
Right.
Right.
And I want people to understand that you're not going to go into a primary election, and you should have seen that now for 2 years in a row,
Right.
that everybody who's running for president, then there is an actual draw as to who gets the first spot, who gets the second spot, and so
Yes.
forth. And that goes across all the lines. The election in November, what's called the general election, is done by columns by party.
Yes.
And that is still, by law, the election that has that. So there's a draw as to, because you know who the candidates are now for each of the positions that are open. Now it's simply a draw of who gets column A, who gets column B.
Right.
Those who are running independent, they chose to run independent.
Oh, yeah.
So they get to have their own column.
Yes.
I get tired of people saying that they're an orphan and left out of the process. Not true. You chose to run under a different party name, a different slogan. You get your own column. Be happy with that because you have nobody else's name around.
Right.
It's just you.
And I've told people before, you know, a lot of people who are trying to be candidates, they'll complain that the party doesn't really represent me, and it seems like they're trying to
Undermine?
Yeah. And I'm like, well, you sound like an independent. So shouldn't you just be an independent and run that way?
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Oh my gosh,
But then
I applaud the people who come in as an independent under a different name because they have gumption. They have courage to put their name on the ballot, and I applaud that. But don't complain to me that you have your ballot and you got drawn as number 6.
The owner of Pizza Queen was one of those independents a few years back. And he was working the sidewalk just as hard as we were.
Right.
And, I mean, he was getting his message out.
Yeah.
And there were mornings, I'm running around 7:30 in the morning getting ready, and I see him walking down the street. I'm like, oh my gosh.
I think the common complaint from the people who stay in the party, though, is they're not going to win if they go independent. And I'm like, well, if you don't actually ideologically align, or you
Tell
don't
you
like what's going
what, who
on-
was the most famous independent who won a ballot position for president? Ross Perot.
Yes. Yes.
It can be done.
Right. Just gotta
You just got to
try
work at it.
and work at it. Take years, years and years. Yeah. So then, is there anything else specific about the committees you want to mention?
A lot of the people in your district do not realize that there are committee people.
Yeah.
Well, and then there are districts that do not have committee people.
Right.
That's when we go in and we'll fill in and help out with those districts. But that's part of the education. When you're knocking on the door and they're looking at you like, oh, are you coming to measure my windows? Or, you know, because there are all sorts of people out there and they're like, oh, I didn't know about this. I'm like, yes, I'm Danielle Carroll. I'm a committee person for Republican
At least
Party.
you're not the Fuller Brush Man anymore. We don't have to worry about him.
The what?
Before your time.
So before his
What is
time.
this?
The Fuller Brush Man.
Oh,
He
I
was
have
a
no idea.
salesman who went door to door when I was a youngster. And they were selling vacuum cleaners and
Oh,
brushes and
right.
brooms, and he would go door to door. And then
Our
the company
vacuum-
was the Fuller Company.
Our vacuum person was a different name. I just can't remember it. Or Avon.
Avon
That
really
just
became by
kind
more
of-
of appointment. but-
Recently, there's been a guy selling flowers at the bars. Comes in, yeah.
Wow, that's
Like, don't you want to buy flowers for your girlfriend?
That's like the
Oh,
80s
yeah.
thing.
That is an
when I
80s
was
thing.
going bar hopping.
There's a guy. He's got like the get up and like the spiky hair and everything. Yeah.
Extra bucks
he
on
gets
the
some
side.
sales. He gets
Yeah.
some sales.
And it works.
I would like to add one area that we haven't talked about yet. What if that position is vacant for a
Yes.
county committee seat?
I don't know.
You know, what happens there? And that is the process, is that we can work with and find somebody in that area, and the officers, the chairman of the county organization can appoint someone to those areas. Or if for some reason that Danielle could not fulfill her 4 years,
Right.
and then her position
The
became
vacancy,
vacant,
Yeah.
we could appoint somebody
Appoint
there.
someone to take over.
I think the Democrats just appointed a whole lot of people.
They did. Well, we're going to be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Because the process for getting petitions in and all was very, shall I say, overwhelming for some people this year. And it didn't work out, and we did not have the number of people we had a number of people who did not get their petitions in or meet the number requirement for signatures.
But I think,
But
as I
there were
was
some write-ins.
reviewing the county stats or whatever, you guys got quite a few people.
We did. We got
It was
quite
like
a few.
over 50, right?
We did.
Yes.
We got 51, but we want more than that.
Sure.
We want at least one person in every district. When you look at it, it's not just 14 municipalities, and I think Joe Kondo has probably said this to you before on the show, which is we don't think of it as only 14. We think of it as 92 areas to cover.
Sure. Some of those townships.
Because
are big.
those are the total number of warden districts
Right.
for the entire county. So we have to stop thinking about just 14 municipalities. But that's the beauty of having a municipal chair and county committee people
Right.
in every municipality. And the small municipalities are fantastic at that.
Oh, definitely.
Fantastic. And their voting record, I don't know if you ever saw, their voting records come up to being like in the 80th percentile for elections. They really work it, and that's exactly what we need to do and do better.
I would wonder if part of that is because some of those townships still have that small town community feel.
I totally believe
Everybody
they do.
knows each other.
Yes.
They know who to ask, who's likely to.
Yes.
That way they're not wasting time.
And there are actually some people down there with the name Norm. Everybody knows your name.
Oh,
No, you-
oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I'm sorry. My classic Cheers reference there.
So then another thing that I was wondering is when you guys recruit somebody new into either county committee or the general Republican ecosystem, is there like an onboarding process to make sure everybody's familiar with all this stuff?
Been developing that. I did what I called a ground. Oh gosh, what did I call that?
You
several
called
years
it,
ago? It was a.
it wasn't a class, but it was kind of
but
like,
it was like a class.
yeah.
I went through a lot of the basics of what it is to be a committee person and what it takes, what we need to do, how do you have an impact, and so forth. And I pulled those papers back out because of this year and the fact that we only got about half of our people back on
Yeah.
the ballot and were elected. So we're going to be doing that again. And yes, the answer is yes, we do have something, but I'm putting it back in place.
Yeah, because I think that's really important. I mean, I come from an educational background, sort of. I was more like a music tutor and a ESL tutor type thing. But the amount of information that can go over people's heads is
Definitely.
It
endless.
is. It
Yes.
can be too much.
Yeah.
And you really want to keep it simplified. I mean, just like Danielle
Down to
has
the basic.
simplified it, keep it basic.
Yep.
What are the handful of things you really need to focus on, kind of thing?
Correct.
Exactly.
Correct. And we always want to keep the door open for anyone who wants to volunteer. They may not want to be a county committee person.
Right, but they might want to
But they
walk.
might want to help
Yeah, like a
walk. They may
volunteer.
want to help
Want to have a coffee clutch?
coffee clutch, do literature drops.
Yeah.
Literature drops meaning we're not just dropping it, but we're actually putting it on their door.
Yes. Ringing the
There's
doorbell.
Exactly. There's a number of things that can be done. A lot of those volunteer positions are no longer relevant. In other words, we're not sitting there and mailing out things. We don't need people who are stuffing envelopes, putting stamps on, and things like that.
Right.
We don't have phone banks any longer
No.
because people do not
unfortunate.
like phones because we've got all the spam and scams
Right.
that come through.
And we did try
so those have kind
texting.
of been putting down. So we're still using text,
Yeah.
some text messages, but we hold those to a minimum because we don't want to overwhelm people.
Of course.
But we have definitely used them on election day when machines have been down.
Yes.
And when
Oh, okay.
lines were huge. I mean, and that really goes back to post-COVID when it was when we finally got back to the polls
Yes.
and it was absolute chaos.
Oh, really?
And so we
Insanity.
were texting people over and over and over again, stay in line, don't go
Oh.
home, because the lines were enormous.
And it was raining.
why.
Sometimes
got
it
it.
Sometimes it's raining,
Yeah.
but it was already getting towards 8 o'clock. There was still this huge line of people waiting to vote. Those people
What do
have
I
the right to
do?
vote, and that's why those polls stay open until the last person goes in,
Yes.
because they were already in line.
Right.
But that's what we were texting. Don't leave, don't go home, stay in line.
Yeah. I remember people freaking out. It was at Vineland High School, and the machine went down or whatever.
Oh, yes.
And I was there for like 45 minutes, and people were leaving the line. And I mean, if you got to go to work, you got to go to work, right?
Absolutely. It's always a problem, and as much as I hate to say it, but I'm usually the center of a lot of those calls as well, trying to keep things moving on election day. But
I'm sure you are, yeah.
yeah. But we need to know where the problems are so we can keep things moving.
Exactly. Some of the county committee people are also poll workers,
Yes.
so
Yes.
they'll be at the polls. It's all about like promoting the election, a county committee person, bringing on the game.
Right.
Kind of like you were in a band.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the groupie, getting out there to pump up the crowd.
Yeah. Or being in the band in between sets with the mailing list, like,
Exactly.
would you like to come see us again? Would you like to buy a CD? Blah, 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 blah.
There you
I have some experience with that. But we've only got maybe about 30 seconds left. Thank you guys very much.
You're so welcome. Thank you for allowing us
Thank
to
you
come
for
in.
having us.
Of course, as you guys know, I've been trying to learn and share the information for a couple years now, and it seems like every month there's some sort of new rabbit hole to go down, and so it's a lot of information to digest, and it's very important, I think.
It's always a learning process, Steve, and I will be the first to admit I'm learning something every single year.
Right.
Same here.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's always
So,
Thank you
thanks
for
for
having us.
yeah, thank you again.
Yeah, seems like a lot, but we're one big beautiful family. So.
Yes, right.
So thanks for tuning in, guys. This is Inform the Vote NJ Radio Hour. Next week we're going to have our head of the Bridgeton Public Library to come in and talk about all the benefits that go on there to help advocate for why you might want to keep the Bridgeton Public Library going. We'll see you then. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.